If you're having trouble getting combos inside Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, well, I have 5 quick tips that just might help you out. Right, so right off the rip, by no means am I a professional at this game, but I have almost 100%ed the entire game. So on that note, this is going to be more of like a casual guide to help out the casual players. I'm not going to show you how to get like million-point combos and whatnot. That might be for another video. However, enough of that. We're going to go ahead and start with tip number 1, that being trick degradation. So basically what this means is that if you perform a trick over and over again, it's going to continually give you less points until eventually it's basically worth nothing, which, as you can see in the video below, the first 900 that I performed gave me 9,000 points, but the second one gave me 6,750, which then it dropped down to 4,500 and then continued to drop until it was essentially at its lowest at 900 points. So what you want to do to stop this is, instead of repeating the same trick, you want to try your best to do multiple tricks in your combo. Alternatively, you could also switch your skater stance by pressing the right trigger, and this is going to give you an additional 4 repeats of that trick to add to your base score, which also, on top of that, doing tricks in switch stance are going to net you a little bit more points. So to quickly recap, tricks are going to degrade the more you repeat them, as well as tricks will give you a little bit more extra score if you do them in switch. Also, sort of in the same vein, the more tricks that you do while in a manual are not only going to degrade as well, but they will also start to slow down your manual significantly. However, for the last little bit on this is that if you're trying to do a huge combo, because of the way that tricks degrade, if you then mess up your combo, then basically at this point just restart, because your tricks are going to be doing less and less as you go on. However, let's go ahead and segue this into tip number 2, that being base building. So in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the tip to getting large scores is to get a large base number. The base number is going to be the number on the left of the X, while the number on the right of the X is essentially how many tricks you've performed in that combo. So basically, if you want to give yourself a better chance at getting a better score, you want to go ahead and equip some special tricks to your skater's roster. Now, you want to pick some tricks that are going to be both worth a good amount of points as well as easy for you to perform, which then when you begin your combo, you want to first get your special meter full and then try to perform a few of those special tricks in your combo to build that base score up as high as you can, which then once you have a decent base score, and you're probably going to want to start at about 10 to 15k, you then just want to find yourself a regular line to fall into. So just find yourself some manual area, some grinds, and some ramps to pull some tricks off of, which, as a little bonus to this, you technically could get a high base score and then just sort of spam manual tricks over and over again, but keep in mind that this is super cheesy and does take a certain degree of skill to actually hold the manual this long, plus your manual tricks are going to be constantly degrading and being worth less and less. But it is an option. However, enough of that, let's get on to tip number 3, and that is going to be reverts. So a revert is when you press your right trigger and your character is going to switch his stance. Now, this is not only very helpful for getting more points in each stance, like I said before, but it's also going to be extremely helpful at stretching out your combos. What I mean by this is that if you hit a ramp during a combo and you just land back down to the ramp, you're going to lose your combo score. If instead you hit that ramp and then you do some tricks and land in a manual, unfortunately, you will still also lose your combo score. So in order to not lose your combo score, what you need to do is that while you are mid-air on that ramp, you need to hit your right trigger to revert when you hit the ground, which then, if done correctly, your character should immediately switch his stance upon hitting the ground, and this is going to give you a few seconds to simply go back into a manual, which will continue your combo, which then at this point you can now use reverts and manuals to help stretch out your combos and connect to rails and ramps and such. Alright, however, that is enough on that. Next up we have tip number 4, and that's going to be spins. So this one might be a little bit self-explanatory, but it's far more important than you think. You see, in this game, if you are spinning while doing a trick, your trick score is going to go up by about 20%, I do believe. So for instance, in the video you see me doing a misty flip and getting the base score for that. Well, if I do a misty flip up a ramp and put some spin on it, you can see that my score is pretty decently higher. So while you're doing combos, try to fit some spins in there where you can, and this should help to boost up your score a little bit more. However, for the final tip, that being tip number 5, we have speed boosting. Now, this one again might seem like a no-brainer, but you would be shocked at the amount of people that don't realize. Now, also, I'm sure that everybody that has played this game is aware that in order to get speed, you need to hold A or X. Well, what most people don't know is that you can actually hold this while you're manualing, and it will give you a speed boost in your manual, which is extremely useful if you're trying to string together combos when the rail is very, very far away. But on that note, that is going to be all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That is 5 quick tips to hopefully help you guys get a little bit better at your combos, which I do have more tips, so depending on how this video performs, I might make some more. Otherwise, if this video helped you out, please help me out with a like and a share. Then don't forget to hit that follow on your way out for some of the best Tony Hawk and Call of Duty Zombies guides on the internet.